Hello, y'all. Welcome back to Mama's Learning Corner. I'm so glad you're here today. We are talking about Christmas books, one of my favorite things to talk about. I love Christmas books. I have lots of suggestions, and I'm going to share 4 of them with you today. If you're joining me for the first time, I'm so glad you're here. I'm Lauren. I blog at Mama's Learning Corner. And actually, I'll leave a link below where I have a post about some of these books. I need to update it with all of them. But you can go find out more information there, but I'll link it below. But I'm glad you're here. Thank you. Christmas books. I love them. They make my heart so happy. I look for new ones every year. They just do not grow old to me. So I'm going to share some of my favorites with you today. And I'm going to have a different video on some others, but let me just tell you, let me warn you that all of these are like feel good heart type books. So you're gonna you finish reading the book and you think that was like the best thing I've ever shared reading with my child. They are so good. Before I share these really good books with you, I want to just say that I use these books not only as stories to share with my children and just to have a good memory of sitting on the couch. Yes, there's all of that. But I also use these books as ways to foster conversation and relationship with my children. It is so easy just to read these and shut the book and put it back on the shelf, but all of these lend themselves to understanding the gospel of Jesus Christ when he came to earth as a baby. They all have a little bit of an element of people hurting at Christmas time or feeling sad, and the hope that is offered to them. Such good conversations. So please make sure you click over to the post where I talk about these, and you can see the types of conversations that I have with my children about them. And maybe that'll be of some help to you. But let's get started with the first one. They're so good. The first one is, the best. The Year of the Perfect Christmas Tree. This story is so sweet, where a girl picks out a Christmas tree with her father. Her father then goes off to war. And then it's a matter of her and her mom getting the Christmas tree for the church and the events that happen. And it is just like a tear at your heart book. It is so good. I don't think I've ever read it and didn't cry in the middle of it because it is just so heartwarming. And my children love it too. I'm going to link below for you to take a hop over to my website where I share exactly how we read this book together. I don't want to say too much about the book itself so I don't ruin it for you. But for each of the titles that I list, I also share suggestions about the way I discuss these books with my children. So I'll say, how do you think Ruthie feels when she's at the Christmas play? How do you think Ruthie feels, blah, blah. So if you need some suggestions on how to discuss these types of books with your children, definitely hop over and read that list of suggestions. So I would say kindergarten and up would probably be a good age for this one. I mean, certainly you can read it a little younger, but the impact won't be there quite as much. It's not terribly long. The pictures are sweet and lovely and beautiful to look at. It's just a delightful book. It's my all-time favorite. Another favorite of mine is Apple Tree Christmas by Trisha Hakes Noble. And this is a lovely book about a family who lives in the upper part of their house, and then there's a barn portion on the side. So that's a very different way of life that you can discuss with your children. That's interesting. And they have this apple tree that provides them apples, of course, but it's also like a play spot for them, for the girls, the 2 girls. And the tree is destroyed in an ice storm. And then at the end of the book, you see what the father does with the tree and how it continues to provide them joy based on the ideas of what the dad does. Again, I don't want to ruin the story for you. It is a sweet, beautiful, wholesome story. Again, the pictures are just beautiful and lovely and simple. Just a very classic book that has such a beautiful story at the end. I can't recommend this one enough. And again, I have suggestions on how to discuss this with your child if you want to hop over and take a peek at those. Another favorite that I didn't find till just a few years ago is Christmas Day in the Morning, and it is by Pearl Buck. Now, This one, oh, this one caught me off guard the first time I read it. So like I said, I often cry over these books with my children. They are just so heartwarming. And this one, the heartwarming nature of it kind of snuck up on me. Oh, it's so beautiful though. So Christmas Day in the Morning. And it's a family that lives on a farm. And you'll notice it's kind of a darker book. The illustrations are kind of darker. The text, of course, is not. But that leads itself to help the story along. So it's about a family that farms, and then a Christmas surprise for the father on Christmas Day. Just a touching book. I would say this one is also pretty good for kindergarten and up. I'd say the sweet spot for these, all 4 of these that I'm going to tell you about, I'd say the sweet spot for these is probably, I'd say 1st to even 5th grade. So you can use these any elementary age. And my middle schoolers still sit and listen. And actually, in December, I read one of these almost daily right after our Bible time. So even my high schoolers. But these are lifelong memories for all of us. So we enjoy reading them again. Okay, the last one I'm going to share. Love this one. It was my oldest girl's favorite. And this copy is really hers. The Christmas Miracle of Jonathan Toomey. So this is just a beautiful look at the gospel message, the Christmas story in a different way. It's just fantastic. So there's Mr. Toomey, who they call Mr. Gloomy. And he's had some hard circumstances in his life that has led him to be very gruff and bitter seeming. And he's kind of a loner. And he's also a carpenter, which is a main part of the story. And then there's a new family that comes to town. Well, actually, it's a widow mom and a boy, and they kind of befriend him and ask him for some help in learning how to carve. And it is just a beautiful story. The Christmas story is presented all throughout, intertwined in the text of the book. Beautiful ending, beautiful pictures. I love the illustrator of this book and how, I'm not sure who the illustrator is, Lynch. The illustrator makes the facial expressions so clear. I love them. But so many good talking points about how to minister to people that are hurting, how to be careful around people that are hurting and how to be gentle with them. So many good talking points with this book. Yeah, we just love it. We just love it.